All right, so this week on the bus, we're chatting with Bria McDaniel. We're going to be speaking about her new single, Receive It, that's available for download, streaming everywhere. We're going to get into that. So before we get started here, we typically like to ask a simple question. Bria, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us your origin story. How did you get started with gospel music? Just tell us. Let's go.
Okay, so I started as a little child. I grew up in a very rich, heritage-filled home as far as gospel music is concerned. My parents are preachers.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're
I'm
PK.
I'm a PK.
Usually at this point you hear all the PKs in the room making some kind of noise, but go ahead. So you're a PK.
I'm a PK. Woo woo. Shout out to us. And my parents, they were very heavy and strong in music. So my father and my mom, both of them are writers. My dad is more known as a writer. Yeah. Bishop Bria McDaniel. Mm-hmm. He's written for everyone from Bishop T.D. Jakes to Bishop Hezekiah Walker. My parents wrote the hit "One More Chance" by Ricky Dillard.
Yep.
They are the writers and the originators of that. They originally recorded it. And so I just grew up in a household that was full of music, full of church. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of shaped me to be who I am. As a teenager, I joined a group called Livray.
Yes, we're familiar with Livray.
Yes, Livray, my family. I was in the group for a long time, about 5 years. And then maybe even longer than that. I think it was about 5 years. And then we we were in the studio recording an album. We were doing so much and traveling the world. And we had a really great time together. And so I decided at this point, I was like, I want to try it by myself. I want to see what I can do with just me. Let me see how this goes. And so that's why I'm here.
Wow, amazing. Yes, so we actually, and as we're going through, doing our research on you, yes, we did notice that about your family, and I'm like, man, that must have been amazing, like growing up in that environment, seeing the writing process, seeing what they're going through, and that just molding and just developing you as an artist in your own way. You're seeing that work that they're putting in. So I mean, it's amazing. So now tell us a little bit now as it relates to Receive It. Like, what's the background story there? Usually everyone has a story behind their single, behind their album, behind any of that. So how did you even come up with this concept?
So Receive It was derived from a African worship song. It was written, the original song was written by a worship leader by the name of Mercy Chinwo. And she's phenomenal, and she's extremely anointed. And I remember I listened to her album, and I was like, wow, this is powerful. I would love to do something like this. And so I was inspired by Receive It. I wrote another verse. I wrote the bridge. I wrote the end of the song, but it was derived from her original version. And it was just something that touched me so deeply. And I was like, this is a message that everybody needs to hear, and it can go far, because people just need to be built in their faith sometimes. And so I felt like Receive It was a good song for that. And so that's how Receive It came about. It was just a song that was in my heart, and I was just like, man, I want this message to get out there. Like, you're gonna receive exactly what you need, because sometimes people don't feel like they will, you know. Sometimes you just feel like, man, I'm just gonna make do without the things that I need. But I wanted to remind some people that you can receive what God has for you.
And it's a great song, and it's a great reminder, because again, sometimes you see that as well too, even sometimes more so with Christians that's been in church for so long. You've prayed the prayer, you've read the scripture, you've seen it,
you know it,
you know it, you can quote it in your sleep. So sometimes you kind of like take that a little bit for granted. And when you see that person that is just so on fire for Jesus, and that new Christian, and they're in the church and they want to help, and they want to do that, and they want to do everything, and then you're like, geez, you're doing the most. But it's like, if you just stop and let that person motivate you, let you take you back to that place. And that's what I felt when I listened to that song. Like, it kind of took you back to that place, like, you know, like, wow, okay, so yeah, this, you know, let me keep saying it, let me keep prophesying it, let me just keep speaking it over myself. So it's an amazing song. So whatever you were setting out to do, it was done. So that it was an amazing song.
Thank you.
Now, Millennial Prayer, that movement. Tell us. I heard about it. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Millennials Pray was a movement that I started about a little over a year ago.
Okay.
Just based off of the fact that some people feel like, you know, prayer is not as important as the older generation felt it to be. We don't really have like a lot of all-night prayers anymore. It's not as common.
A lot of shut-ins.
Yeah, a lot of shut-ins. They don't do that no more. And so, like, as a millennial myself, I saw the need, and I saw that, you know, I love to pray. Prayer is something that I feel is an anchor, and it's something that I don't feel like young people really understand, like, the importance of. And so in my effort to just make it popular again, make it a thing again, making all-night prayer a thing again, I was like, you know, God put it on my heart, and I said, you know, maybe I should just have an all-night prayer. So it started as simple as that, an all-night prayer. I invited some amazing young ministers, other fellow millennials, and we literally prayed down for like 12 hours.
Wow.
Yes, it was a long time. We were shut in, and God really moved. And so it's just a movement that I'm just trying to gain some more traction with, because I really wanted to kind of settle. Yeah, like we got to take advantage of it. Like, our generation kind of I feel like we kind of lost the art of calling out and crying out to God for ourselves, because we rely on our parents, our pastors, our grandparents, aunts, whoever else, and they do it for us. And so we kind of don't do it. And so I just wanted to bring that to my generation.
Well, I think that's an amazing need to have, to want to bring that to your generation, because again, a lot of the times you see, you know, growing up, I mean, I'm sure being a PK, but still, you know, you don't always want to be labeled as, you know, you're the Christian girl, you're the girl that's gonna pray, you're this, you're that. But like, that should be a good thing. That shouldn't be something to shy away from. So to actually own that, and to start a movement, and to motivate other millennials to actually do that. Because again, everyone, you know, kind of give millennials a hard time.
They
like,
definitely give us a hard time.
You know, millennials don't pray.
We're lazy. We don't read the Bible.
And you know, and then sometimes too, because you know, everyone, like, you know, back in my days, I don't want to date myself too much, but you know, you go into church, you have to wear a suit and a tie, you have to wear a shirt, you have when everyone exactly. So now, you know, you're seeing the young kids, you know, showing up to church with the jeans, the t-shirt, but they're serving the same God. They're there, you know, they're not somewhere else. They're there. So that's an amazing movement to even start and champion, and you know, and I'm sure it's going to grow, and that momentum is going to pick up. No, you mentioned Bishop Hez, so were you at his anniversary service? What is that?
His
April, right?
Yeah, in April, his watch night service. Okay. Wait, was it watch night? No, not watch night. Easter.
Yeah.
I'm getting my dates mixed up, but yeah, it's Easter concert.
Yes.
He does like a big Easter concert every year. And it's huge. He always does it at the Marriott, and he has guests come from all over the country, and people literally come in like in droves from everywhere, from all of the tri-state area, Connecticut. People come from all over to come to this concert, and it's a big deal. And he afforded me the opportunity to sing at this event, and I was just so like overwhelmed. I was so grateful that.
Were you nervous?
What? I was so wait. I told my mom. I said, "Ma," because she was sitting in front of me before I went up, and he gave me this big introduction, like, "This is my god baby, and she's my real goddaughter, and y'all receive her." And I'm like, "Mom," when he's talking, I'm like, "Mama, pass out." I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I was so nervous because it was by far the biggest crowd I have ministered in front of as a solo artist, and so it was definitely nerve-wracking for me, but it was an amazing opportunity. Awesome. I feel really good about it. I'm just really, really, really grateful that I was allowed to do that.
Great. Yeah. So you also a worship leader in your church?
I am. I'm the worship leader at my church, my dad's church, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So now this is a little fun question before we get into anything else now. So as a worship leader, right? You're up there, you're worshiping, and you're getting ready to transition to bring up your bishop. So during that time, if there's still a few stragglers that is enjoying the song, they're still praying out, they're still dancing, like how much prayer or how much praise is too much before you kind of transition? And like it's a tricky because I'm an usher in my church. Yeah. So it's like this. It's always that stop and go type of, like how
it's like a weird transition.
Yeah, so how do you deal with that as a worship leader?
I'm like the wrong worship leader to ask this question. That's like the worst question for me because let me tell you something. Every week I'm up there. We going for blood. We going in the whole time. We starting at 10. We ending at 10. Like we are on level 10 the whole time.
Awesome.
And so my church and I don't know, just the way that we flow.
So they're fine with that.
Yeah, like we're always we go crazy.
Okay, that's fine. That's
transitions.
There's no such thing as transition. Whenever it happens, it happens.
Sometimes, no lie. Sometimes there is no real transition because we go from praise and worship, and Bishop can't even preach because everyone is carrying on. And we're just going for it. And so sometimes, like, he'll take off from where I left off and like lead us even more into worship and not necessarily like preach a message, but we just like literally have a service of worship. I think it's amazing because it leaves room for us to really encounter God like organically. He comes in and does whatever he wants to do. But yeah, I told you I'm the wrong one to ask that.
That's why I said it's a little bit of a fun one to throw you off a little bit there while we go back in.
So I'm terrible at transitions.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, the single is out. I know it's been hitting radio. I've been seeing a lot of articles. I'm seeing it all over. And that's even one of the reasons when we started following you, we've seen all the posts and all of that. Again, your branding is great. The page, just the image that you're portraying, a young person in love with Christ and just going after Christ. That's a great model to have. Now, what else do you have in store? Like, is there an EP? Is there an album? Is there a tour? Like, what else do you have in store?
So, what I definitely have in store is definitely an EP.
Okay.
That is coming next.
Awesome.
I might do another single and then the EP.
Okay.
But from now until fall, there will definitely be an EP dropping.
Right.
After the EP, I would like to drop the album.
Okay.
In the midst of those things, I am working. I'm in the baby stages, but I'm working on a documentary.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. Just about myself. Because I have a story that will match the music on the EP and on the album.
Great.
And I wanted to put it together so that people understand these songs and so that it'll resonate a little bit differently.
Yes, yeah.
Because people will get to see like a different insight to where these songs came from, what experiences I drew this music from. And so that is also in the works.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you for giving us a little behind the scenes with that.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, do you have any immediate upcoming dates? Like, how can someone connect with you? How can they follow you? Like, tell us your social media, tell us your website. Like, how can they follow you?
Later on in the summer, at the end of July, I will be at GMWA this year.
Okay, awesome.
I'll be singing at a couple of the events at that conference, and that's in Washington, D.C. But every other date, you can find on my website.
Okay, what's your website?
briamcdaniel.com. www.briamcdaniel.com. And then you can also follow me. Everything is at Bria McDaniel. So Twitter, Instagram. I think that's really it. Twitter.
So not Danielle. It's no S.
No S.
Go ahead.
Don't put S. There's no S
there you
on
heard
the end
it.
of my name.
There's no S.
McDaniel.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you.